This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 613 for July 22nd, 2019. Unsportsmanlike Killer.
I was trying to do my job.
I had the knife, he was there. Come at me, bro.
Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
I don't think we really have any business stuff here at the beginning. Oh no, we finished up the most recent Game Club episode we were talking about, Tokyo 42.
Go listen to the episode before you make any decisions.
Yeah, but that was a game that
was released.
We had a lot of thoughts about.
It was a game that was released and it is available on platforms.
Yes, it's a game you can now play.
Yes.
We did announce...
say play.
It is available to purchase and play. We did announce the next game chosen by you, the patrons. Patreon.com/E1M1, the ones are numbers. The next game is Orwell, Keeping an Eye on You. I had that in my Twitch catalog. It is also available on Game Pass for PC. So, thank you, Moonpeer, for reminding me I still have the pre-show text on the screen. Boop. Thank you.
I was trying to do it incognito, and then you just like...
My production brain here is not working this week. So come join us playing Orwell, Keeping an Eye on You. We're going to play that one and not the sequel that has a different subtitle. It's a little confusing. But you can go play that. And I think that's about it. So let's start with what you've been playing, Moonpeer.
Okay. Let's start with the perennial classic for the past 2 months, Astroneer.
Astroneer. I was going to guess Dead by Daylight.
That comes next.
Okay. I can put DBD here.
Things. Hang on.
Yes.
All right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
We're doing alphabetical order. Thank you very much.
There you go.
No, I'm still playing Astroneer. I'm not going to keep ranting about how much I'm enjoying this game because I'm really enjoying this game.
Yeah.
I'm close to end game now, though.
Okay.
No pre-show jokes intended.
Right.
Because I've discovered the thing that happens after the thing.
Gotcha.
And the big buildings and the thing. I've done that thing. And then, because I can't help myself, I was looking at achievements.
Oh, no.
What? Dude, it's got a bunch of secret ones, which are all hidden, and I deliberately don't look at them if, like, a game potentially has story in it at some point. Like,
yeah.
If I'm playing Minecraft, I don't care. I'm going to look at those achievements. You want me to roast a chicken? I'll roast a bloody chicken.
Right.
You know, spoiler alert, you're going to go kill the Ender Dragon at some point.
But if it's like the newest Life is Strange, then you don't want to look ahead and be like, defeat the Eye of the Beholder. It's like, wait, what does this game turn into?
Can I spoil an Odyssey boss?
For Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So the reason you don't look at secret achievements is because one of those is defeat the Minotaur. It's like,
right,
that's
and you're like,
why you don't look at secret achievements.
Right.
In fact,
I just spoiled that for myself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Although that mission, that mission and the related one were really good in Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. They really were. And like, if a game puts stuff secret, it's either because it wants you to do something ridiculous, or because it wants you to like progress through the story. So generally speaking, I don't do that. But once I discovered the first thing at the end game thing, I was like, okay, so I'm going to check out the achievements now because I'm guessing there's something like this on every planet. I was right. There is something like that on every planet, and you have to do the thing on every planet. Problem is, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can do it nice and easy, which is activate. Each planet has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things to do. 7 things technically. You can do thing 1 and then thing 2, and then you're done. There is an achievement for doing all 6 things and then the second thing.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so I'm just going to have to go and get all 6 things on every single planet. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of doing that because I may or may not have planned out and optimized my route to do so as quickly as possible.
Aha.
Which is also at the same time still stupidly fun because I'm just driving a monster truck with giant drills on it around every single planet that I'm on.
Yeah.
So
That's the stuff.
it's like Total Recall. It's like that. Like you're driving through, and then all of a sudden a giant drilling machine comes past. That's exactly what I'm doing, except I'm doing it to every planet. And
Right.
global warming be damned.
Right. I'm making this planet a Swiss cheese.
Yes, exactly. And the home planet, the base planet that you start on, essentially looks like Swiss cheese now because it's just got giant holes through the mountains. It's just like whatever. I'm lost and I need to find my base. I'm going to tunnel through this mountain and see if I'm on the other side.
Right. I don't need to worry about the citizens of Tutorialtopia.
Exactly. And I'll be honest, like when I was playing it with Rob, that was one of the reasons I found out how to get back home was because I was just driving across the middle of this plain. I was like, looks like a giant hole in the side of that mountain that's about the size of my vehicle. Is that where I previously got lost? And I drove towards it. It was a hole that I had driven through with my vehicle. And then when I drove through it again, there was my base on the other side. So it has helped me in my really bad geography.
Making your own landmarks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I may or may not have built a giant pillar into the sky and then put a beacon on the top of it just to make my life a little bit easier now.
Yeah, see, that's smart thinking.
Yeah, it's a shame it took me so long to do it, though.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, how can I wish there was a way to make this easy. It's like, oh, I should have figured that out a while ago.
Yeah, because it gives you beacons where like your spaceship is or your shelter is on every planet, but you can they don't go that high. So I literally just went to the top of the mountain and put a big thing on the top of the mountain, flattened it out at the top, and placed a manual beacon there that's bright green that indicates this is where my home base is on every single planet.
Yo, dummy, you live over here. It's like, okay, gotcha.
It's very helpful now. But yes, Astroneer. Nimp, have you played it yet? Have you figured out how to play it yet?
I had started it, and my daughter was interested, and then she kind of took over the controller, and I don't know what she's done. Probably going to have to restart it.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least on the bright side, at least the youngling is interested. That's the thing I'm taking away from it.
I walked out of the room for about 20 minutes, and apparently that was 20 minutes too long. Because I was looking at it, and I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing in this game yet, so I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm. 20 minutes is not a long time in that game to really mess some stuff up.
Yeah.
Yes, and Boston mentioned it. I did play Dead by Daylight a lot.
Blood points.
Oh, dude. I got up to like 600,000 blood points this week.
Oof.
And the level cap, the blood points cap is 1 million.
Okay, getting close.
So then I just prestiged my David King and then got him straight back up to level 30 something again. So
there you go.
Yeah, I'm very quickly going to hit the level cap with him again and then prestige him again. You only have to do it 3 times to get the relevant achievements for that person. But David King is my jam, and I now have my bloody top and my bloody pants. So if I prestige him again, I get my bloody face. Which sounds like I'm cursing him in English, but I'm not. It's genuinely the cosmetic that you get. You get covered in blood as you get stuff. But David's the one guy I've bought cosmetic items for. So right now I'm rocking out with the 40s haircut and 40s face look, but he's got his modern day bloody jacket on, so he looks like he's like a wannabe hipster. It's dumb and hilarious in the stupidest ways. Did play a whole bunch with T-Bomb Rocks, Brain Eater from the community. Pretty sure we played with somebody else too, but for the life of me, my brain is failing me. I don't know. Who knows?
The fourth member of hashtag Dead by Friday.
Yes, but we've discussed it amongst ourselves, and we recommend if you're going to play it, jump in, play a couple of rounds as a survivor, play a couple of rounds as a killer, because then you'll get it. You'll understand how hard it is for the killer to see. You understand a lot more of the game by playing it from both sides. And this week I had a Legion daily, and for those paying attention, Legion is my jam. So I totally jumped in and played as Legion. And you know that great community that I'm always talking about in Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, I'm worried about the second half of the sentence, but yes.
Well, today I got not today. Yesterday I got the salty version of that community. No. Apparently, all 4 of the survivors I played against were reporting me for unsportsmanlike behavior as a killer.
Aha.
The logical fallacy in that sentence. I was a killer and I was unsportsmanlike.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me.
And to be clear, you weren't griefing or exploiting or anything like that. Like, you were just playing as a killer, which means you're supposed to kill the survivors.
Yes, and I'm also just damn good, is the problem.
Yeah.
And that's not me being cocky or anything like that. It's these guys didn't stand a chance because I also went in there with the item that lets you kill people. And because I just wanted to see what it was like for the first time.
Right.
So I totally wrecked shop and wiped these 4 people out, and then one of them just sent me a message at the end, like, reported. I was like, okay, what for? I'll bite. What for?
Sure.
And he's like, unsportsmanlike conduct. I was like, so being a good killer?
Right, so winning the game?
Mm-hmm.
I don't...
His response was, well, no, you were tunneling and cheating. I was like, dude... I've got like almost 500,000 gamer score. You think I'm going to risk any of that by cheating?
Right.
That's not how this works, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to reset that number back to 0. Thank you very much.
It will break your soul.
And the dude was just annoyed because I'm guessing it was probably a group of 4.
Sure.
And they weren't very appreciative of being wrecked by me. But we were also on a 2 there's very few of these, but it's a 2-story map. So an upstairs floor and a downstairs floor, which is actually the pigs map. But the thing with that map is you can hear what's going on the floor underneath. So if I'm standing on the top floor and I hear a Jenny getting repaired underneath me, I'm going to go to the Jenny that's underneath me.
Because you know exactly what's going on down there.
I can hear it being repaired.
Right.
And Legion's special is when he uses his stab move on somebody, he sees where everybody else is. That's his thing. So this dude was like, well, it sounded like you were chasing me and you weren't actually behind me. It's like, dude, I was probably on the floor above you.
Right. Do you not understand how sound works?
He was clearly coming up with some BS excuses.
Right.
Because
my controller, this isn't the controller I like. It's a Mad Catz one, and I was at my friend's house. Yeah, I was player 2. I was on the other side of the screen.
Well, it was pretty much that kind of stuff, which made me laugh because I literally sent him a message saying, like, I refuted his claims, like, dude, Legion is my jam. I'm good at Legion. And he was like, whatever, you're level 20 as a killer. Number 1, that's the starting rank as a killer. I ain't level 20. At this point, I'm level 16 because I'm forcing myself to go down in ranks because I'm trying to do achievement hunting with the killers I don't play as. So,
and I like how confident you are in your Legion enough to the point where you can say, I'm good at playing Legion. Mm-hmm. So, like, the reality of it is probably you're really great at Legion, and these guys just were not prepared for a good killer.
Yeah, and honestly, Legion is an underappreciated killer, I feel like. Like, I think I posted on Twitter, I had the conversation after I played as the Saw Lady for one of my dailies, and I almost got her achievement. And someone sent me a message saying, sucks that you didn't get that achievement, you're really good with the pig. And I was like, yeah, just trying to do my dailies, Legion is my jam. And they responded with, Legion is super underrated. And they are. Legion is a genuinely fantastic killer if you know how to play them. Because you do stuff like, you're chasing somebody, they'll drop a pallet in front of you, and you're just like, dude, I'm in my stance, which means that I can jump over those pallets, just like you can. What is this going to do? Like,
you're not going to stop me.
If Legion is chasing me, I'm waiting until the pallet can hit them before I'm dropping it. Like, it's about knowing the killers, and some people do, and some people don't know. I'm no expert. My wife is a much better survivor than I am, but I'm a hell of a good killer with certain killers. Like Legion just happens to be the one that clicked with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, just chill. You're salty. You're lost.
Right.
You probably burned a bunch of like rare items or whatever, and you didn't leave with any of them. Boo hoo.
Yeah, and you're gonna lose again, man. I hate to tell you.
Like, we all played as survivors, and we had like maybe 3 wins and like 7 losses. It's like, it happens. Yeah. You lose sometimes.
Got good killers.
Exactly. Like, it just makes me laugh because at one point my killer rank was rank 8, like, which you've got to be consistently winning to quote unquote win to get up to like rank 8. And then I started playing as the killers I don't like and just going for stupid stuff so I could get that rank down so I can achievement hunt. It's like, dude, I'm sorry, it was my daily. Legion came up. Right. Sorry, you had to be the problem. You had to be the one who suffered it.
I can't turn this off, man.
No, I literally can't. The Legion's thing as well. Like, when we played as survivors, we bumped into a Legion. We had a Legion as a killer. So if you know Legion's perks, like because the way the perk system in this game works is you can equip the perks from other killers if you've got them high enough. Same with survivors.
Right.
So your default is you go in, you see a survivor or a killer, and you have to operate under the assumption that they are using that specific character's perks. Like, I've got Adam Francis's Deliverance ability on my David King now, which is where you can get yourself off the hook. I'm David King. People don't expect me to be able to use a perk from Adam Francis. They don't expect me to be able to get myself off the hook because that's not what my character normally does. That's great for me because it means the killer's not going to suspect it. It makes you a better survivor because you're doing the unexpected stuff.
If you're a survivor and you're going against a killer, can you see what perks the killer has before the match?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So it's very much an unknown.
All of the perks are hidden, and it used to be at the end, as soon as one person was killed, it shows like the match lobby screen, and it shows everybody's perks, including the killers. Now it actually like hides the killer's perks until the match is over, and then you can see the killer's perks.
Smart.
Because you get people who would be in lobbies together, and like if I died, I could then shout out to Rob or something. I'd be like, okay, he's got Nurse's Calling, so don't heal yourself because they'll see you. Like, you could do that. But when we went against Legion, we know, okay, you don't hide in closets because the second you get out of the closet, Legion can see you. You don't drop a pallet unless you are 100% sure they're going to get hit by it. And no matter what you do not have 2 people working on a generator at the same time. Because, like, it's one of those things, one person working on the Jenny repairs it, 2 does it faster, 3 does it faster still.
Sure.
Legion has the perk where if 2 people or more are working on a Jenny, it highlights it in bright yellow and says to Legion, there are 2 people working on this Jenny.
They're over here.
So what you do is, if you're against the Legion, you instinctually know, don't work on the Jenny 2 at once. It's not going to work because Legion can come and find you. These people don't know that stuff. So like, I did his special ability to somebody, which lets me see where everybody else is. And one of the idiots goes and hides in a closet. There's a big red pulsating symbol on my screen saying, this is where the guy is.
The dummy's in this closet.
And he's in the closet, and it's just like, oh, okay. I'm just going to deactivate this mode, open the closet, and put him on a hook. Sorry about that, friend.
Yeah.
It happens. Like, it's just all about knowing that kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, so you lost. You deal with it. You move on.
Yep. You should have learned something, which I think is the most important part about what makes games like Dead by Daylight is great. It's like, okay, cool. So he has this skill that I didn't know about with closets. All right, I need to put... We talked about the flow chart in Binding of Isaac a lot, where it's like, all right, if I pick up this item with this character, it'll do this. But if I have this other thing, it'll do this other thing. And it's like, now you know, all right, if I'm playing against Legion, I shouldn't go in closets. I shouldn't repair generators with more than one person. Like, you start building up this knowledge instead of being a baby that you lost. Yeah, like instead of crying, you should be like, okay, all right, I did a bunch of dumb stuff that I may or may not have known about. Now I know better.
That's one of the reasons why I suggest go play as a killer for a couple of rounds. Just get a feel for them. Like, obviously not everybody has bought every single killer like this household has, where we have literally everybody. But it's one of those things where it's like you go in, you learn by playing as the killers and doing those killer dailies especially, you learn what they are and you learn how to better avoid them. One of the killers has got an unnerving presence perk, which basically is if you are in his terror radius, it forces you to do skill checks faster. But what it doesn't mention is the terror radius starts off as a very quiet heartbeat. When you're repairing a Jenny, you can't hear that heartbeat because all you can hear is cha-chunk, cha-chunk, cha-chunk as this Jenny gets repaired. It's only when it gets closer and it gets louder and more intense you hear it. The second you are in that quiet phase of it, though, up on your screen will pop unnerving presence. So you don't even have the audio warning. You've just got a visual representation there saying the killer is getting closer to you because you are now in their terror radius. Right. You can't hear it yet, but you're there. So it's this really cool...
Keep an eye on your debuffs, man.
Exactly. It's not that hard.
Mina in chat says this pretty much goes for any game where you play in team comps or versus know thy enemy. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the best way of putting it.
It's the very same approach I take to insulting media. It's like, okay, I haven't seen the Twilight movies. Sorry, I've seen one of the Twilight movies, so I cannot insult the Twilight movies. I have, however, read every single one of the Twilight books, so if you want me to rip them to shreds, I can and I will.
My summit is at 3:00. You can buy tickets for that.
Thank you for coming to my Colin chat, and this is why Twilight is so bad.
Right. For the next 4 hours, I will.
But yes, anyway, Dead by Daylight, come play it with us. Hit me up on Xbox at Moonpia. Just send me a message.
Dead by Friday.
Yes, Dead by Friday, definitely. It seems to be becoming a weekly thing now. So it's always good to jump in and play. And it's just dumb fun. And I really appreciate it for it. And my final game this week, because my mental state has not been great. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. I needed a blue sky game. I needed a green grass game.
Yeah.
So I started playing Snake Pass.
Yeah. That is a blue sky game. Maybe not the most relaxing game, but it definitely is blue sky.
Honestly, this has clicked with me a lot.
Nice.
Have you guys, either of you, played Snake Pass?
Yes. I played it for about 15 minutes and said, I really like this. It is clicking with me. I don't know if I can take the frustration right now. So... basic breakdown of Snake Pass, especially for you, Nimb. It's essentially a puzzle platformer that doesn't have platforming in it. Yeah, you can't jump.
You can't jump.
You can just slither.
You slither.
Okay.
You are literally a snake. And it's like they just dump you in this jungle gym and like, here you go. Here is the level.
Yeah. You control the snake's head largely. Yeah. And figure it out.
Don't let what I'm about to say put you off. It has tank controls, which is
technically, that's
you hold the trigger to accelerate,
right,
and then you move left and right, and so on and so forth. But the whole thing with this game is it's small little touches I'll get to in a little bit. But the whole thing with it is let's say you have to collect these 3 things to open the gate at the end of the level to go through that gate. Dead simple. The way you get those 3 things is this thing is on this one of these shapes is on top of like a little like tiered structure. You can't get up to that naturally because your snake isn't that big. So instead it's a bunch of like bamboo like scaffolding like from Rush Hour or Rush Hour 2 specifically. Right. Like around the edges of it. And as the snake, you have to wrap your way around the bamboo and then across the bamboo and then up the bamboo. And you
and like twist your way through it to make sure that you don't have a grip on something to sort of build on top of that.
So it's got like this acceleration and grip mechanic where like you grip onto something to give yourself the stability to wrap around again, then accelerate a little bit further. And then essentially you'll work your way up that way. And there's like instead of being jump is raise your snake head. So, like, you literally hold A and he just raises his head up. So that's how you go up and around. And it's just this really... It's confusing at first, but then it becomes this really intuitive control scheme where you're just, like, wrapping yourself around these things to make your way up. And then there's, like, stupid puzzles where it's like, okay, there's, like... This collectible is on the edge over here, so to collect it, you have to... It's over an abyss. So you have to wrap yourself as tightly as you can around this bamboo and then just stick your nose out to grab this thing like and reach then retract your head back so you don't fall off the edge. And it's got all, maybe not as stylish, but all of the style and the color palette of a Viva Pinata, where it's just bright and colorful, like
a very happy game.
Yes. Your tutorial bird is a hummingbird called Doodle.
Yep.
Your snake is a bright orange and black snake called Noodle, which is okay, sure.
Really good.
Why not?
I think the crazy thing about Snake Pass was like you said, for the first 5 or 10 minutes, it is incomprehensible. And it's just one of those things where it's like, how do I even play this? And then like a minute later, it clicks, and you're like, oh, I just need to get my snake up this. And you're just wrapping and coiling on yourself, sort of piling yourself to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like, after the first 5 or 10 minutes, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I can control the snake. That's fine. It's cool. I got it.
It's like muscle memory, except it's not like muscle memory for like a fighting game where you need to play it for 5,000 hours to remember what frames. It's just like you get used to the motions that your hands make to just loop yourself around this piece of bamboo so you can climb higher. And you just start seeing it in a different way. It's super duper charming, super fun. The music's pretty chill. Like, in general, the game seems pretty cool so far. I have seen one of the levels coming up, which makes me think there are going to be levels in this game that I'm going to absolutely despise.
Right.
Because from what I can tell, it looks like you go through the elements. Earth, fire, water, and air all seem to be the level palettes.
Oh, okay.
And air means a whole bunch of rotating platforms above cliffs.
Oh, no.
Which means the end of this game might not be as good as the beginning.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to give it a shot, because right now it's just something really cool to just like to literally slither around in, and it's full of snake puns. Like,
yes.
So full of snake puns. It's hilarious. Like when you complete a level, it gives you some stupid thing like excellent with about 4 S's in it.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, okay, sure. And my favorite little touch is if you just accelerate in a straight line, you go slow. It slows you down to a crawl. To go fast, you have to actually slither, and you build up speed.
Yep.
It's so dumb.
Snake Pass is really good. Is that on Game Pass?
It is on Game Pass.
Yep.
This show not sponsored by Game Pass, but you should go sign up anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, that's all I've been playing.
All right, Nymph, what about you?
All right. Clear my throat here for a second. So, was playing Tokyo Xanadu. Excuse me, jeez.
It's all that Bob Ross hair in your mouth.
I guess. Yeah. So, I'm on the final chapter now. Have all my party members, and I am saving the world with friendship.
That's right. That's the best kind of JRPG. I'm going to save the world with friendship.
And I don't know if it's just because of my age or what, but it's like, God, why is everything about friendship?
Right. I already have enough friends, man.
But the combat's gotten a little trickier. They've started throwing multiple elements at you at once in a dungeon, and you can still only have 3 characters. And you can swap out their alignments now. Your main character can have any alignment, but the other characters can only have another alignment that's basically the opposite of their original alignment.
Oh, okay.
So it's made combat interesting but difficult at the same time, because you'll have like all these elements that you don't have characters for, because you can only bring 3 in, and each character can only have 1 element in a dungeon unless you go back to the save point and swap everything out.
Right.
So it's made it a little bit more difficult, and then they started throwing different kinds of barriers at you with the enemies. So certain enemies, your physical attacks will either do 0 damage or they'll do minimum damage. Or your range attacks, same thing. It'll either do 0 or minimum. And then there's, from the second to the last chapter, this massive difficulty spike that I don't know why JRPGs do this for the most part.
Every time.
Yeah, like everything was running fine, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't even know what's going on anymore. I don't know why my characters aren't working. It's not like I'm min-maxing this game or anything, but...
Well, it's the worst after 60 hours when it's like, here's the new tutorial. And it's like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's fun. I'm on the last area now. I have to recollect everybody. It's one of those where it's like, oh yeah, final dungeon, and everyone's separated now.
Oh boy.
So I gotta go figure out what's going on with all that stuff. Yeah. It's still fun. It was just the difficulty spike that they throw at you. I'm not exaggerating. I went from being able to walk through a dungeon no problem to I have to completely change the way that I'm going about going through a dungeon.
Right.
Or I'm having to plan a lot more. I've maxed out pretty much all the items I can bring with me because you're constantly healing and you're getting dealt like a ton of damage from in-dungeon elements. Like the last one I did, they had blood all over the floor. If you touched the blood, you started taking damage and your characters would start to bleed, which was basically a poison effect.
Yikes.
So, and I was still able to swap my characters into the support role, which would heal them and eventually heal them with the status effect. Meanwhile, though, my other two characters are taking a beating because all the monsters are all of a sudden so much harder than they were before.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know why JRPGs do this to me. But
I don't know.
It's to encourage you to explore the open world, to encourage you to explore the rest of the game instead of just jumping straight to the last boss.
Well, and that's the thing, because this game doesn't have an actual open world. It's all... Think of like a Persona 3, where you have plots you can go to.
Right.
So you have a map and you can choose to go to this area, and you have a small little area you can walk in, but that's not like a dungeon area. That's where your shops are at.
Right.
So, and I'm at the point now where everything is locked. It's basically you're doing the final dungeon.
Okay. Good luck.
So, yeah, which I mean, it's not an issue. Like I said, I stocked up on a bunch of stuff, so I'm ready for it. But I don't know.
Maybe you're not mentally ready.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that was kind of annoying me with the game is every time you go to progress the story, you get like 15 reminders. Maybe not 15, but 2 or 3 reminders saying, hey, this is going to advance the story. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm here. I literally can't do anything else. Advancing the story is the last thing for me to do.
I'm still good. Like, let's keep this train rolling.
Yeah. It's like, are you sure you want to put the key in here? I'm like, yeah, just do it already.
Yes. That's why I've interacted with this thing. Come on.
But yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I'll have it beat, but the story's getting kind of weird. Oh, kitty.
Cat on stream.
Yeah, he just woke up. I think he wants to go out.
Oh.
Next game I was playing was Ys 8.
Oh, yeah.
Finally got Dana, which has introduced a lot of story time plot elements. Because there was a lot of back and forth between what Adel was doing and what Dana was doing. But now all of a sudden you have Dana in your party thousands of years after she should exist. So you're trying to figure out why she's here, how she got here.
Right. How is this happening?
Yeah, meanwhile, she doesn't have her memories past the last time that you interacted with her story-wise. So she remembers everything that happened before that, but she can't remember what has led up to her being in the situation she's in now.
Gotcha.
So you're slowly starting to figure that out, and it's made for an interesting time issue in the game.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
You need something to happen. You still have to use the old method of having it happen. Like, you're still going back to Dana in the past to have her do something for you so that you can continue on with what you're doing. And then once you've completed that, she remembers that she did this for you and in the current timeline. So it's kind of this weird thing where it's like, I want to know more about what's happening with her.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it also helps that she is a really good character, kind of OP in a little bit.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
So that helps out. Oh, and she also has like this mysterious mark on her arm that you don't know anything about. It's never shown up before until you found her in your current timeline. So nobody knows what this mark is. You've never seen the mark before. Gonna have to assume that has to do with the reason why she's probably with us now.
Yeah, in a couple hours you lift the curse from the mark and she remembers everything, and you're like, got it.
That sounds like the plot from the Mummy 2.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that. Yeah.
But I'm also feeling that once she gets her memories, or once we figure out how she got there, that's probably when stuff starts going sideways.
Probably. Like, I remembered it's the great evil, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Okay.
So the village is pretty much set up. I'm missing, I think, 2 villagers on the island, maybe 3. We're already at the point where we're building a ship. You know, they're trying to get plans going so that we can finally leave the island, because that was the original objective for the game when you started out, was just getting off this island that you didn't want to be on to begin with because it was a cursed island.
A plane crashed. Everyone lost their memories.
Yeah.
It was a smoke monster.
You know. So that's coming along. So I think I've got 1 or 2 more chapters left in that game, and that'll be
nice.
So it feels like it's starting to do the ramp up process of getting everything tied off and letting you know, hey, this is what's happening.
Right.
So yeah, I really love that game. I love the Ys series.
Yeah.
Valkyria Chronicles 4. I've been playing that off and on since it came out because I am the guy that takes forever in battles.
That I'm afflicted with that curse too, where it's like they're gonna move 2 squares and we're gonna chill here, and then rinse and repeat for like 2 hours.
Yeah, the last map I completed was a mountain one where everyone's retreating in your squad and you're supposed to meet up with people across the mountain. You've got enemies in front of you, you got enemies behind you. Oh. So every round enemies show up behind you.
Oh.
So they've got the path splits into 2 different paths. I've got 2 tanks. So I've got those going to the left path, and I've got soldiers on the right path that are covering for the tanks because I'm at the point where you've got anti-tank, turrets and stuff like that are
right.
up. So I've got my grenader, my sniper, bunch of other guys over on the other side, taking them out as the tanks push forward, taking out other tanks and stuff like that. And then I think I accidentally broke the game.
Okay.
Because at the start, your entry point is where the enemy starts to come at you. Every turn, they'll plop down 2 enemies and they'll come at you.
Mm.
Well, knowing that, I had everybody advance, and I left 2 shock troops in the back facing that direction. One was covered by... one was off to the side so they couldn't see them, and the other one was behind a sand barge. And basically what happens is whenever an enemy runs across your people's line of sight, your people will take shots at them.
Right.
So basically every time these guys would show up and they would run forward, my 2 shock troops would basically take them out.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like Overwatch mode in XCOM?
Yep. Yes, very similar, yeah.
So then I threw a scout next to him because my scout can see further and they can shoot further than the stormtroopers, shock troops, whatever they want to call them. So that kind of added it more where anytime they would put something there, my scout would start shooting, they would come forward a little bit more, and my 2 other troops would just lay into them with their SMGs, and they would be gone.
Right.
And then the game stopped giving me enemies. Like, it sat there and thought about it for, like, a long time. Like, I thought I broke the game.
Right.
And then it skipped a turn, and I didn't have any enemies there anymore.
The game just returned. It's like, you got them all, man. Like, yeah. I'm out.
So once I progressed to a certain point, they start coming to a different area, which I assume was scripted. So I had to move my forces that were in the back, the rear guard, up to middle guard. And then I had to move a tank back to cover my front guard, because the whole point is you're supposed to get at least 3 people within 20 turns up to a certain point at the very top of the map for you to have victory. So I've got 4 different units going at once doing their own thing. And it took me about an hour and a half to beat the map.
Nice.
And then I looked up a video on this map, and people are beating it in like 30 minutes.
I was like, I beat it in 3 turns. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah. So I felt really good because I did play a lot of the original Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, that game was great.
That game stomps you hard your first time through if you just rush everything.
Yep.
So that's where I've kind of learned to not necessarily turtle up, but basically have my best defense forward. Yeah. And be able to react quickly, because they love, especially in the first game, throwing ambushes at you where you feel like you've won a fight, you felt like you know it was down to your last bullet, and then all of a sudden enemy reinforcements show up in the middle of the map and your party's separated. So then you're trying to fend that off. So this game has not caught me off guard yet.
Nice.
It will not catch me off guard.
You learned from the first one. That's not going to happen again.
But I love these games. It's just it takes me way too long to play them. So. Yeah.
But it seemed for me, but I sort of found that fun where it's like I'm prepared for anything that's going to come at me. Like, oh no, enemy ambush, cool. There's like 6. I have like 6 units there ready to sort of blast them away. It's like, all right, I was prepared, and I felt that went pretty well.
Well, and I use my tanks basically using World War II strategies of they're my shields. They go forward. My group follows them. They take the heavy load. My group pops out, takes out, the shrimps that the tanks can't get.
Right.
That's caused issues before where I've accidentally ran over my own people because I didn't thoroughly think things through and I had to turn a tank around. So.
Right.
But yeah, no one's died yet. If I remember, I think this game has permadeath in it. For the side characters, not the main characters, but the individual characters that you pick up. I think they permanently die in this game.
Probably,
and I I've not had that happen in any of the Valkyria games.
Nice.
So that's really great for me because I like reading their stories too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna keep going with that. I think I'm about halfway through the game. I think it's got like 18 chapters or something like that, and I think I'm on chapter 8.
Okay. Yeah, they're all surprisingly long.
Yeah, it's going to be a while, but I really love the game, and I like the way it's going. I like the new classes that they threw in there. The fact that you can have 2 tanks now. There's what we basically call an APC, which was basically like a drop unit, where it's not a main tank, it's a smaller tank, but you put people in there, and that tank can travel further than your people can, and you can just drop them off wherever. I ended up having, because I bought the game day one, I ended up getting the code so that I could play the map that gave me the Valkyria 1 squad.
Oh, cool.
So I have the tank from Valkyria 1. I have the tank for this one, so I now have 2 tanks, and it's great.
That's cool.
Can't have too many tanks.
Yeah, that's right.
The next game I played was Crackdown 3.
Yeah, I saw you playing.
I gotta get back to this.
Yeah, I really like this game. I really enjoyed the previous 2, which was kind of my folly in the beginning of this game because I remember being super awesome and doing super great.
Yep.
And then I jumped off my first building and died in Crackdown 3 because I forgot that you start weak. Even though there is a massive intro at the beginning of the game
about how
everyone telling you
is.
Yeah, and then that happens. And then they tell you flat out, you are not what you were. Yeah. That went in through one ear, out the other, jumped off a building at my own peril, and I suffered for it.
So all you heard from the beginning was quack, quack, mother effer.
Yes.
Yep. All right, let's jump off buildings. Agility orbs. And it's like, oh, wait, this is okay. I'm not very good at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
When you get to the high-end stuff, you feel the difference.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, so I've played the game for 6 hours now, and my agility is almost maxed out already.
Yep.
That's the stuff. I have not done a whole lot of the story.
Well, after 6 hours, you're about done with it anyway.
I was going to say, it's basically I find an agility orb and I get it.
Yeah.
Or I find another orb and I get it.
Yeah, find one of those hidden orbs and you get everything.
Yeah, everything that I've done in this game, story-wise, is because there was an orb I wanted to get to. There was something in my way for getting that orb. I blew that something up, and I got my orb.
That's Crackdown 3, yeah.
Yeah, so I've gotten most of the train stations done. I think I have one more left to do, so I've got that train cannon, the tram cannon thing that's following me.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Which, that confused me, because I didn't know that it would... One, I didn't know it was mine.
Yeah.
And 2, I didn't know it would follow me around. So this game already has enough issues with aiming. I don't know if it's the style that I have it picked on. I haven't messed with it.
No, it's just Crackdown.
But it has a real issue with, there'll be somebody right in front of me shooting me. I'll hold down the left trigger to have it auto-lock onto them, and it's on some pedestrian
2 miles away.
Yeah. And then I'm sitting there trying to get it so I can shoot them, and it does not want to work. And then I don't know if it's the camera's really tight on the character, but I can see things getting shot at me off screen. I turn around to figure out where it's at, and I don't see anybody. I can see them on my radar, can't find them. Yep. And that's when I noticed the tram thing was actually the thing that was shooting around me, covering my butt, which I thought was one of the other tram things that I had to fight earlier. So I was trying to shoot it, and then I realized it was blue, and it was on my side.
Right.
So that worked out. But
you're very much having the typical Crackdown 3 experience.
Yeah, where nothing's really explained, but that's fine.
Yeah. That's fine. I have agility orbs.
Yeah, the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think no matter what Crackdown game you're in, the first time you collect enough agility orbs to level it up, and it just does that big explosion thing, and you're just like, wait, what just happened?
All right, now I can double jump?
Going blind, and as soon as that happens, like, get the orbs. 100%.
Yeah, I
get the orbs.
need all of them.
Yeah, because now I can jump, 3 stories now. I've got the jetpack. I can do double dash now in the air. I think the last thing I unlock is the triple jump.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, that stuff is good.
Yeah, just all the random dumb crap that I'm doing in the game. The gun that I run around with is the beam gun that I picked up at the beginning of the game.
Oh, I loved that one, yeah.
And have not put it down because it does what I need it to do.
It does a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I stole guns. Like, if you get your wanted stars up enough, like really high power enemies show up at some point. And they've got like a laser SMG kind of assault rifle mix.
Oh, really?
And I got that real early in the game, and then probably used that to wipe out a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Well, to say with the beam, I can just go across the screen with it. Everyone's on fire, so I don't have to worry about most of the people there. Yeah. The grenades are kind of hit or miss, depending on what you're using. I found like this elemental grenade. Yeah, which I was a little confused about because I thought, okay, I throw it and it's going to do lightning or fire or whatever. No, it gives you a weapon that then does the elemental damage.
Right.
So like the lightning one gives you like this massive hammer that you crush down on. There's like a fire, I think it was like a sword or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that took me a second because I wasn't really paying attention to what my character was actually doing. So I threw the grenade. I'm shooting things. And I'm like, why is the grenade not going off? Right. Where did I get this melee weapon from?
Right.
So, it's fun. I'm really enjoying it. I don't know what's going on in the game, but my agility's almost maxed out. So
yeah, there's a bunch of evil people and you blew them up. Like that so far is Crackdown 3's story.
I inadvertently took out a boss without knowing it was a boss.
That sounds about right too.
One. Yeah. Because all of a sudden it had flavor text of it being a boss, but it was just this mech that was slightly bigger than the other mechs, and I just assumed I'd got my wanted level up high because I was doing a lot of dumb stuff. So I took it out, and then I got the whole, CG thing of, this is what you did, and this guy's gone now, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, that was a
lot of people swearing a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to keep playing that. I can run faster than cars now, too.
Yep. Yeah.
Which was the problem I had with the first 2 games, was I never really got into cars because I was too busy getting orbs.
Yeah.
And now I don't want to drive cars because I'm already faster than that.
Right.
Have you seen Naruto before?
Yes.
Have you seen, remember the weird lightning hand thing that the teacher does, that he teaches to Sasuke?
Yep.
If you increase your melee attack, your level 3, I believe, is do that move.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Like with the full-on glowing ball fist in your hand and running the Naruto run and stuff, and then you let go B and you just charge forward and go pow, and people just explode.
Oh yeah, because I've got the ground pound, and I also have what they call the flying punch, where you basically you hold down your melee button and they just jump forward, and whatever's in front of you just gets hit.
Yeah,
and it's kind of my favorite one punch thing to do.
Yep, that game is so dumb.
Yeah, it's so dumb, but it's so fun. It's really one of those that you can just shut your brain off and just go in a direction, and you're going to find something to do.
Yeah.
It does have street races in an open world game, which is a big no-no for me. If you have an open world game and you have vehicle races in, unless in this case it's the street car, then the racing agency car. If it's that vehicle, I'm fine, because guess what that thing does when you get your driving skill up? It just scoops them over your head into the sky. That's fine. If it's like, oh, you do this race in a limo, it's like, screw you, screw your car, screw your race, and screw the dev team who did this to me.
Yeah.
Well, I got the first 2 vehicles I picked up were apparently the 2 alcohol ones. There was the Monkey Moonshine delivery van, which I grabbed by accident. I was trying to figure out how to get into a vehicle, and then I realized what it was. And then the next one was what was it called? Like a Mr. Beers or something like that. And it's got like this bottle character and neon lights on the top of the vehicle, and it's a slow van. But it's just all neon, 4 booze. And I'm like, of course, the 2 vehicles that I try out are the 2 alcohol-related ones.
Right.
So yeah, I'll keep playing that. It's a lot of fun. The last game that I played, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
So tell me about that sweet Venom jive, and tell me about that sweet Star-Lord jive.
Yeah.
So we have not gotten very far in the game.
Oh.
Mostly because we were trying to figure out the controls.
Oh, okay.
So
the way it should be.
Yeah. Right now I'm playing with my son and my daughter and I. We are using a Pro controller, and we have a Joy-Con that we have split. I'm using one of the Joy-Cons. My daughter's using the other side of the Joy-Con.
Okay.
Not an issue. It really hammers home how small those things are in my hands.
Yes.
And how close those buttons and the thumbsticks are. Because I think when I rest my thumb to hit a button, I am too far to the right where I'm not touching anything. And then when I think I'm hitting the inside button, I'm actually hitting the outside button. So my character's sitting there jumping in the air, not doing anything. It's like, no, attack. Right. But yeah, it's a lot of my fun. My kids enjoy it. I am thinking of picking up another controller so that my wife and I, the 4 of us can play.
Oh, yeah.
But then that ran into another issue where Joy-Cons are still having drift issues. The brand new ones.
Yep.
And still real expensive.
Yeah, I didn't want to pay $79 for another Joy-Con that would potentially have issues.
Right.
So then I started looking at Pro controllers, and those, general price, $69, whatever. But first world problems, I didn't want to buy just a black one.
Right.
So I don't know where I'm at with this, but my wife seemed lukewarm to it, so we'll see if she eventually wants to play. But my daughter's playing as Gamora. Okay. I was playing as Star-Lord until I accidentally switched characters. Couldn't figure out how to switch back, so then my son started playing as Star-Lord.
Okay.
Mostly because he can fly. He's the first character that can fly, and he was really jealous about it. And I didn't care, so I'm like, fine, whatever, you can play as him. I will play as Groot, and then I changed to Drax. And it is really fun. It is what the other 2 games were.
Nice.
Which was a nice Marvel Diablo beat-em-up game.
Right.
Yep.
It also still suffers from that issue of when there's a lot of things on the screen, it is very easy for you to lose focus on where your character is at.
Right.
And the next thing you know, you've just been punching air for the last 3-5 seconds because you thought you were hitting the thing you were supposed to be, but no, really, you're over here.
You're just over in a corner.
Yeah, that happened a couple times. The first mission that you do, you're supposed to take out this computer so you can bring down a force field, and there's a bunch of stuff that jumps down at you. My daughter and son were fighting everything, and the CPU were fighting everything else, and I was focusing on the computer. At some point, a big baddie came out, did an aerial attack, knocked me back, but I didn't see or figure out that I wasn't at the computer, so I'm over on the other side of the screen punching a force field, which isn't doing anything.
Right.
I'm like, okay, so then I run back over, and then I switched characters again, which confused me. So all of a sudden I'm playing as Groot, not Drax. So right. I'm trying to figure out why Drax isn't following what I'm trying to get him to do. So then we had to pause the game. It's like, all right, let's look at the control scheme so we can figure out what the heck is going on.
Right.
Yep.
And I found out that when you're playing with the Joy-Con, when you push down on the thumbstick, that automatically switches what character you're playing as.
Ah, okay.
Which is good to know because I kept doing it by accident. Apparently, I was the only one. My kids didn't have any issues with it. It was just me.
Right.
Yeah, it's a kid's touch versus the big daddy touch. That's what that is.
And my son is using the Pro controller, so with that, it's got the D-pad on it. So you just, push whatever up, down, left, right for whatever character is aligned on the bottom left to play that character.
Oh, okay.
So for him, he wasn't accidentally hitting the button. My daughter was only having issues with trying to figure out how to do her special with Gamora because you have to hold down the left shoulder button and then you hit your face button that correlates with whatever attack. Everyone only has one at this point. So I was trying to show her how to do that. But with my big, thick fingers, is this itty-bitty little button that's recessed into the controller that I'm trying to hold down while trying to hit this other button.
Right.
So it's kind of a pain with the Joy-Con.
Yeah, it's like every time you play something like that where you split Joy-Cons, you think, this is such a cool, smart idea that just doesn't really work.
No, it works fine for kids and people of a small demeanor. It doesn't work well for, like, I'm sure, like, me and Nimp with our huge man hands have a problem. Boston, I'm sure you could share a Joy-Con with 6 people.
Yeah, my hands aren't super big.
Well, and that's the biggest problem. Is just the fact that I can lay the Joy-Con in the center of my palm and have plenty more room for several more Joy-Cons. So it's not meant for me.
Right.
But I wanted to give it a try just to see how well it would work. And it works fine. Once I knew, what was supposed to be what for the control, everything worked fine.
Mm-hmm.
What else was going to say? Oh, the graphics for the game look really good.
Okay.
The screenshots and clips I've seen make it look really, like, solid art style. It's going to help it hold up a long time.
Yeah. It's more comic book style than realistic style, which is perfectly fine.
It's sort of
really
what you want.
Yeah, it works really well with the Switch. We have, like I said, we've only played for maybe 45 minutes. So we haven't run into any major issues. Even when we had a bunch of things happening on the screen at once, there wasn't any slowdown or chugging. This was all with it docked. I haven't played handheld yet or anything like that. The characters, Star-Lord is sitting there giving quips the entire time. Rocket is just being a sarcastic douche, which is why I love Rocket.
Right.
Yeah, they capture the characters really, really well so far. My son is excited to play as Deadpool because we can't pick anybody yet. Because it's just, you do the Star-Lord or the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff first, and then I would assume it opens up to everything else.
Yeah.
Which apparently, I don't know if Deadpool is day one free DLC or if it's part of the expansion pass, because I bought the expansion pass too, so we could get all the extra stuff as that comes out.
Right.
But I do have Deadpool. I do have his chef costume.
Nice.
And my son is chomping at the bit to play as Deadpool right now. So I can't wait to play more of the game. We're probably going to play more of it tonight before I go into work.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's going to be fun. So I'll have more to talk about that next week, though. So
nice.
So on to you, Boston.
I played. I got caught by the Void Bastards bug this week.
Yeah, you did. Rambling on for 6.5 hours on We Roguelike It today.
Yeah, we had a lot of good conversations about Void Bastards on We Roguelike It. So if you're not playing it, it's on Game Pass on Xbox One and PC. You should probably really go play it. At least give it a shot. It's free. It's not going to fit everyone's fancy, but roguelikes are still a pretty divisive subgenre. So, but this game's cool. I like part of what I'm enjoying with We Roguelike It now is because there's so many weapons that do so many different things in the game. We've been sharing a lot of like, oh, well, I use this weapon to do this thing. Oh, and I use this one to do this completely other thing that we didn't think was possible. And it's like, oh, okay. It's like a grade schoolyard stuff where it's like, oh, I used this thing to do this. And I was like, oh, well, now I got to go home and try that. That's super cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, Void Bastards is really good. I played more Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. I'm at the final boss. And I really don't like the boss battles in the second half of this game. Basically, sort of starting with the vampire lady, I have not enjoyed any of them.
Oh, just like Symphony of Night.
Yeah, Symphony of Night's second castle, most of those boss battles are just not good. I think, for me, the biggest frustration is... in Symphony of Night, when you get to the second castle, there's a huge difficulty spike there, where it's like, you get hit by one tiny enemy and like 3/4 of your health is gone. I feel like the difficulty curve for Bloodstained has been a lot smoother.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really the case for bosses. And I find that really frustrating. And part of my frustration is, I'm fighting this boss, am I underleveled? Do I not have the right weapon equipped? Do I not have the right shards set up? Like, I don't know. Like, there's no real feedback about, hey, this boss is level 50, you're level 35. Do the math. It's not going to work. There's no real indication about what I'm supposed to do. And I'm trying not to look up any walkthroughs or anything where it's like, hey, your recommended level is blah blah blah. Use this weapon setup. So I don't know. I'll finish it, but I'm sort of petering out a little bit here in the second half, and it's really weird because everybody else I see playing this game really loves it, and the guy that loves Metroidvanias is really not. So, which is surprising. Yeah,
difficulty spikes can be a real kick in the pants.
Yeah, I was sort of expecting it. Like Moon said, Symphony of Night has some brutal difficulty spikes. I think combined with my frustration over the bosses, combined with the patch notes that just came out for the upcoming patch, where they're going to be nerfing a bunch of shard skills, I'm getting really tired of. And this isn't, I don't blame them. I just have been getting tired of single player only games with overpowered like weapon or skill combos. That stuff getting nerfed.
Borderlands 2 says hello.
Right, like Borderlands 2, it's like, who cares? Like, Borderlands 2, I can understand a little bit because you can play multiplayer in that. There's nothing really like that in Bloodstained. It's just a Metroidvania, so like who cares if the skill that has the paintings surround you and attack enemies, if that's super overpowered? Cool, that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can understand a little bit from the developer's standpoint, where it's like you shouldn't have this one skill that everybody needs to use because you just blow through the game like that. You want a little bit of challenge from the game. But on the other hand, like, you don't have to use it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit frustrating. Destiny 2's moments of triumph continue. I'm now 21 out of 24. There are 22 currently in the game until this week, maybe, is when Solstice of Heroes comes out. So I have to do the newest raid, and then I'll be sort of up to par at this point. I just have to find someone to run through on a Saturday with my very limited time to do so. So that continues. That's still going great. And we talked about at the top of the show, Orwell, keeping an eye on you. I decided to fire that up this morning to check out the tutorial on that, and then spent 3 hours totally absorbed in it. So Orwell is really great. I would recommend people playing this because it's a very much a me game, and I knew that as soon as Monkey Senior started talking about it. It's this cool thing where you're playing as basically like a governmental agent that's working with a piece of software called Orwell that monitors pretty much the entire internet and everybody in the city. And there have been a string of bombings that's been happening that you're trying to figure out who the culprits are and why they're doing it. And you're going through, like, the top bar is sort of your navigation bar, but on the left-hand side are all your character details and their relationships. The relationship tree looks a little bit like the one from Vampire, which sort of sold me immediately.
Oh no.
I know. And on the right-hand side is how you interface basically with the internet. So that's where you're going to look up blog posts and social media websites and family websites, along with people's text conversations and their phone calls. All of that stuff is monitored, and all that stuff is at your fingertips. And the phone calls aren't audio, they're just a text transcript. And what's cool is you're looking at all this stuff and you're taking pertinent info from websites and transcripts and phone calls and stuff like that, and dragging those over into each person's details, where it's like, all right, this is when they were born, this is where they live, this is their job, these are who they're affiliated with. And like one guy just found his bank number in like an email he got. So at that point, I was able to look at his bank records and find out, oh, he's spending a significant amount of time in this area, and with these charges, that must be where he lives. So if we find out he's responsible for these attacks, I now have his address that I can send the authorities to go arrest him. So it's really cool in a very worrying way.
It's a game about why cybersecurity is very important.
Yeah, and it's just this really it reminds me a lot of Papers, Please, where you're doing a bad thing in a very interesting way. So the gameplay itself is really fascinating, but when you start thinking about it, you're like, I'm not doing great stuff to people.
Yep. But Syndicate, both the original and the remake.
Yeah, especially the original. The original Syndicate is so cool for cyberpunk. Like, what does body modification mean? Where does the line draw between how human are you versus how robotic are you? And how...
As soon as you start saying stuff like that, I just want to quote Tyrrell and just say more human than human.
Yeah. Man, one of my favorite things about the original Syndicate and Syndicate Wars was the Persuader, where you can just turn it on and any NPC around you just starts swarming you, and you very quickly find out, I could just use those as human shields.
Yep.
And when you think about it, you're like, that worked really well, but that was really bad. I did a bad thing.
It was a morality system without having one built into the game to tell you, you're being a bad guy.
And Syndicate was all about your corporation needs to take over the world, and the corporation does not care who does it or how it gets done. It just needs to control the world.
Yeah.
Bullfrog was great.
I didn't need a game to tell me where my morality lies.
Yeah.
And the darker shade of grey.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so much better than something like Mass Effect, where it's very much like, all right, here's the good guy response, and here's the bad guy response. The good guy one's on top, and the bad guy one's on top.
I could not pull the right trigger hard enough in some of those moments.
Yeah.
It's not a bad guy thing in Mass Effect. It's a
That's fair.
clean-cut cop versus the play-by-their-own rules cop.
Versus the guy who punches a TV anchor because I am tired of your S.
Right, I'm tired of listening to you. Yeah. Yeah. So Orwell seems really great. I spent in those 3 hours, I got halfway through chapter 3, and there's 5 chapters. So it seems like it's not a significantly long game. But I'm really digging it. As much as I thought I would based on the description, it's very much a me game, and I'm really digging it so far. But that's all I had time for this week, so let's take a break. Let's talk about the surprisingly long list of releases for the week of July 22nd, 2019. Tetris Effect comes out on PC. It's an Epic Games Store exclusive for a little bit, from what they're saying. It has VR support, and more importantly, it has an uncapped resolution and an uncapped frame rate. So, boy, that's going to look real good.
Yeah, if you got tank machines, now's the time to really put them into operation.
Yeah, so Tetris Effect is really great. I'm glad it's finally coming to PC. Because it would be nice if it would come to Xbox One as well at some point, so more people can play it. Mm-hmm. But PC is a good next step. Fire Emblem Three Houses is coming out on the Switch. I really want to play this, and I don't know where I would find the time. But this looks really great.
Game where I take forever playing them.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think I was interested in this, and then when somebody explained what happens during the time skip between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I was like, okay, I gotta play this.
Yep, I've heard what happens in that time skip based on what people were talking about during E3, and it's like, if I was a bigger fan of JRPGs, this would be right at the top of my list of stuff to play.
Yeah, I would recommend for anyone that hasn't played a Fire Emblem game, you should try one of them. They are really cool, and they're not as intimidating as they look. Yeah. You can make them really difficult, but what's the fun in that? Kill la Kill If is coming out on PC, Switch, and PS4. That is Arc System Works' latest anime fighter. This time it's not Dragon Ball, it is Kill la Kill. So.
Is this where we suddenly get remastered versions of Kill la Kill released?
Maybe. I don't know.
If Arc did it for Dragon Ball, I'm sure they can do it for other ones.
Yeah.
A Cowboy Bebop beat 'em up.
There you go. Yeah. Wolfenstein Youngblood coming out for PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One.
Crap, that's this week.
I did not realize that was coming out so soon.
Oh, no.
Since I really didn't like Wolfenstein 2, I'll be waiting for some reviews and someone else on the show to play this.
I volunteer as tribute.
Okay. Yeah, I will wait for your opinions. Yeah. Also alongside Wolfenstein Cyberpilot coming out for PS4. That's that super cool VR killing Nazis game that I think looks pretty great, and I hope it turns out to be good. I don't have a PSVR, but I just want more really great VR games, and that could be really cool. Also coming out on PS4 is Wargroove, finally coming out to the only platform it hasn't been on yet. It does not have crossplay. I think we know why.
It's because the developers didn't want to put it in. Hashtag.
Yeah, just those lazy developers. Sheesh.
/S and all that fun.
Yeah, it's Sony for anyone that doesn't know. But don't let the lack of crossplay stop you from playing Wargroove. Wargroove is really great. If you have an Xbox One, it is on Game Pass right now. So, and that's where I have been playing it. And Wargroove is really good. If you've been interested in Fire Emblem games, you could also play Wargroove. It's basically the same thing.
Yep.
But with cute dogs. So, and lastly, Picross, Lord of Nazarick, comes out on Switch.
This is the game that I had no idea about. And then someone tweeted it at you, I believe.
Monkey Senior did, saying, "Hey, you'd probably enjoy this." And it's a story-based Picross game. And I said, "Yeah, man. That's me. You got me." I guess I got to pick this up. So, yep. I don't know. I've never seen the anime that it's based on, which I think is Overlord. But you tell me it's a story-based Picross game. You had me at Picross. So, and I like Picross games on the Switch. Yeah, although most of them don't use touchscreen.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't understand that. All right, let's move on to news stories. EA announces Plants vs. Zombies 3. This is not the shooter, so the Garden Warfare, which are really good games.
Yes.
This is the tower defense zombies game. They have finally announced a third one.
Is it going to be a mobile game that's full of quote-unquote best value microtransactions?
They have said no.
Okay, they said no. Okay.
Right. It is free to play with no microtransactions so far. It is in pre-alpha, but I feel like after Plants vs. Zombies 2 crashed and burned, to put it mildly, I feel like you'd have to be a pretty special brand of stupid to make that same mistake twice. And I know some people would be like, "Oh, EA," but
well, exactly, it's EA.
Right, yeah. I don't know if they're that stupid. So
dude,
I'm kind of...
Dude,
yes.
You don't know if EA is that stupid. I give you the greatest quote of 2019 from a video game developer. I actually had to attack on that little bit at the end for being stupid, which is surprise mechanics.
Okay, that was EA, so yeah, they are that stupid. Okay. But I think it's interesting that they announced another one of these, and so far it only seems to be mobile only. I'm surprised. I would also expect this to come to Switch, because that seems like, number one, the place where people are playing games. Number two, the place where they will spend money. But this did Plants vs. Zombies 1 did pretty well on 360. So I'm curious. 360? Yeah, I'm curious to see if it'll come to PS4 and Xbox One, because it seems like if you put out another Plants vs. Zombies game, you kind of want to put that everywhere, because everyone loved the first one. Well, that was like one of the first big mobile games.
Yeah, they'll put it on one platform, then it will underperform, and then they won't bother putting it out on anything else.
Right. We've decided to cancel. We sincerely thank our rabid fans, but we've decided to cancel support for Plants vs. Zombies due to it not meeting expectations.
Well, gee, if only you could sell another 20 million copies of any Persona game ever. Put it on a different platform.
Yeah, that's right. Sega, come on. Next news story, Luigi's Mansion 3 launches on Halloween 2019. That's
Good
it.
call.
That's all I wanted to talk about. It's perfect. I'll play this game. I'll play this game eventually.
How many cosplays do we get? Like, how many Luigi... people in line to pick it up physical from the store on the night before Halloween, dressed as Luigi. How many photos do we get?
I hope a lot, because I want to see how people make a Luigi cosplay. Other than wearing like a green screen suit. Like that's not... That's the cheaper version of it. I respect that too, but... next news story, Nintendo announces a new Switch model, and it's not the Switch Lite, and I forgot we talked about it last week. This is the new model of the Switch Fat. The big difference here is the original model, the battery lasted between 2.5 and 6 hours. This one will last between 4.5 and 9 hours. So pretty significant capacity jump here.
I was doing a little bit of research into this one, and it sounds like the light switch, which I'm just going to keep calling it the light switch because it's a better name.
Yes.
Also, it makes me laugh because for Christmas last year, I actually got my wife a light switch and wrote Nintendo in Sharpie on the front of it. So it works out perfectly.
It's a D-bag move.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the best thing is I did put it in a huge box as well, and it was just a light switch. But from what
your wife loves you and didn't divorce you on the spot.
Right.
But from what I understand, it's the new the chipset that the Switch is based on is getting a new revision, which is what's getting put into the light switch. And by its very definition, that chipset it's slightly more powerful, but they're probably gonna what's it called? They're probably gonna basically tune it down so it's not as powerful as it could be.
Right, and then it gets more efficient,
less temperature, things like that. Like, we don't even know if the light switch has a fan in it yet, because if the light switch doesn't have a fan in it, then that means that it's so much more heat efficient as well. And from what I guess, they're going to take that hardware and stick it in the existing Switch 2, which is going to help with the exact same issues.
Right, it's a good idea. Yeah, good job, Nintendo. We finally have the list of Uplay Plus games. Ubisoft has finally announced that, and
there's games.
Yeah, there are over 100 of them, and it's basically everything they have available on PC, even all the way back to Assassin's Creed 1. The thing to remember, too, that I had forgotten about is that it also includes upcoming games. Unlike EA Access, it will have, like Game Pass, it has brand new games on there. So, like, most importantly, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, when that comes out, that'll be on Uplay Plus. Like, Rainbow Six Siege, that's on there as well. So some of their...
Also, with the Siege, you also get access to every single operator in there. So essentially, you get the season passes for free.
Yeah. Yeah, you get, like, for most of these games, you get the Ultimate Edition, because stupid Ubisoft has, like, 15 editions of each game. You basically get the highest level of each game, including Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Siege, all that stuff. So it's still expensive. It's still $15 a month for one publisher, but I feel like if you love Ubisoft games a lot, and you're gonna buy them anyway, it might not be a bad deal.
Yeah,
it's better than just like, here's our 5 games, $15 a month, and it's like that's not a great deal. You shouldn't do that. And lastly, Borderlands 3, the developers have said that they are not going to be able to get cross-play ready by launch, but they say that they are working on it for a post-release patch. They had originally wanted to get that out during launch, but they're saying it's taking them longer to get it working, and they don't want to delay the game's launch just for that. So, so I thought that was great. It would be nice if that will eventually be in there. I don't know when I will play Borderlands 3 because Destiny 2 Shadowkeep comes out 4 days later. So,
yep.
Who knows?
So, is anybody else kind of not interested or lost a little bit of the heat for Borderlands 3 based on the fact that they won't stop talking about it, but also all of the bloody drama? Like, I was kind of okay. I was like, oh, I'll play a Borderlands 3. Now I couldn't care less about Borderlands 3 right now. And I don't know if it's because every time I open Twitter, I've got 17 notifications about Borderlands 3.
Right.
Or if it's the fact that it's ran by a maniac who does magic. I can't tell which is the problem.
Mine's the drama behind it, because I don't have all the ads. So
right.
I couldn't care of it that way. But yeah, mine's mostly just what's been happening before the games come out. Mm-hmm. Has kind of set me back on wanting to get this day one.
Yeah,
and I know there's a lot of people out there's like, well, you got to support the people that are actually working on it and all that, which, yes, I know, but I don't necessarily want to support the company if this is the way they want to do things.
Yeah, I fall more on the spectrum. I think 2019 has been a really unfortunate year for us having to grapple with that question, where more and more people are showing their entire butt on Twitter. And I think Randy Pitchford, it has been one of the worst lately.
He is the flag waver for this whole ordeal. And that's not just lately.
Him and John Carmack. No one's following John Carmack, but he is also showing his entire butt on the internet too, but in a much worse way. I think this year has been a really interesting time to say, like, do you support the developers on the ground? And there's no real right answer for this, I don't think. So I'm not like subtweeting anyone. Or do you not want to support the leadership? And I think for me, I think I obviously don't like what Randy Pitchford has been doing for years.
Yep.
And I'm moderately excited about Borderlands 3 with, largely tempered because Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is coming out 4 days later. So like that will obviously be my focus. If it wasn't coming out so soon, I'd probably be a lot more excited for Borderlands 3. But I have a lot of fun with Borderlands playing together with my wife. And we wouldn't really be able to play a lot of this in front of my kid. So all that stuff really tempers that stuff on me. I will still play it. I really doubt I'll be there day one or maybe in the first 2 or 3 months just because of circumstances.
Mm-hmm. I would say, Wolfenstein comes out. I mean, we talked about a couple of weeks ago how many games have already been released in 2019 that none of us have played, mostly because of grown-up reasons. Like, we discussed something pre-show that means I'm going to be rough for a while, so I probably won't be picking up Wolfenstein now. I'll probably pick it up in a little while.
Game Pass becomes a lot more important.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like Game Pass becomes very important to me because that's how I'm going to play a lot of games right now because of the situation that I find myself in. But it's like, I don't... Like, if it comes down to it and I have to pick between $60 on Game A and Game B, and I've only got $60 in my budget for like 3 months, and that 3 months has 5 games that are coming out, stuff like the Pitchford stuff lowers that game down on my list. And I'm a huge fan of you separate the art from the artist. I am a genuinely big fan of that. Kevin Smith has done some incredible things in his career, and he said some incredibly shocking things in his career too.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey is a hell of an actor. He's also an actual human monster.
Right.
Like, these are things that are difficult to pass sometimes.
Right.
But if my budget is limited, which it is, Borderlands slips because of Randy. Like, at the end of the day, it slips because of what he's done. Wolf goes higher because those devs seem really on the level. And every time I've heard them talk, they seem like genuinely chill dudes who just all get along with each other.
And they hate Nazis, which is a plus.
Always a pro.
Right. Well, and for me, too, like, when I look at... there's like 4 4 games I'm interested in off the top of my head for the rest of the year. Obviously, I'm getting Shadowkeep. We've talked about that enough. Borderlands 3, which I know will be a long enough experience, and I like grinding a lot of these games, so it'll be a meaty game. Then I have Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. That's a 100% must-buy. That's like at the top of my list. And then I have Death Stranding, which is not a game I thought was going to come out in 2019, but it's not going to. I don't know, man. I still hold out hope. But for me, I like the experience of experiencing a Kojima game day one with everyone else tweeting on the internet saying like, what did I just play? What happened?
The day that thing comes out, everybody who follows video game people, your timeline is going to be illegible unless you've played that game.
Right.
It's going to be like secret.
The Lalelulelo?
Exactly. It's going to be that, except crazier, because nobody's got him in line this time. This is going to be pure Kojima. That's scary.
For good or for worse, yeah. And I think that's really interesting, and I think whether a Kojima game, whether you like Kojima games or not, or whether they're good or not, sort of doesn't matter for the spectacle. And I would rather spend my $60 on an unknown Kojima game as opposed to Borderlands 3 that I know will be good unless they really screw it up. You sort of know what you're getting, you know it's going to be good, and you know it's going to be better when you play it with friends. And I that sort of slips down on my list for that reason.
Well, and my reasoning, too, is because with Borderlands 2, they did a lot of patching at the tail end of that game.
Yeah.
Which, to me, sucked a lot of the fun out of the game.
Yeah, like we talked about with during...
like we talked about earlier. They even patched out a way for you to be able to grind experience a lot easier because they felt it wasn't the way it should be. But if you've played that game, you know it takes forever to grind experience in that game.
Yep.
Even using that, it took a while.
Yep. I was thinking about that the other day because they kept releasing more characters. They released, I think it was 3 characters in their DLC stuff. And every character
would... whole campaign?
Yeah, every character would start at level 1. And I was comparing that to Destiny 2 New Light that's coming out where they're like, Bungie have come out and said, like, that sucks. And we want you to play with your friends, so play a 15-minute mission, and then we just boost you up to the maximum level, and you can go play with your friends. And I was thinking, like, people discovered in Borderlands 2 a way to get around the boring part they had literally played at least a minimum of 4 times before, and then they just chopped that out, saying, like, well, that's an exploit. And it's like, but you're not fixing the core problem. You were fixing the symptom of the issue.
Yeah. Don't worry. They'll fix it with some surprise mechanics where you pay a small amount of money and boost your character to the level top. It's not a microtransaction.
It's not microtransactions.
It's a surprise mechanic where you know exactly what the outcome is.
They are small real world purchases, but not microtransactions. Yes.
But yeah, with that mixed in with a lot of the, I guess, like, weird language they've been using with this game, I want to see more what it is, and it's not helping with the leadership of this game either. Where I was on the fence to begin with, and now I'm kind of leaning in a direction of I was interested, but
they're pulling back a little. Well, and also I think when they show new Borderlands stuff, Gearbox, stop showing Pandora. I've played Pandora for so many games. That world is boring. There's a reason why Borderlands 3 is so exciting, where you get to go to other worlds. And here, let's show you 10-minute gameplay on Pandora. It's like, no!
I honestly can't wait for other worlds to be just like Destiny 1, where it's like 5 small zones on slightly different planets.
There's 30 enemies on this planet. It's like, oh no. But I think that's one of the other reasons why I want to watch some of my favorite streamers play it and watch for reviews and stuff like that, where it's like, what is this game really other than Border Worlds, which it looks like. All right, let's move on to questions here. T-Bomb Rocks in Discord says, Mike Tyson was on an ESPN esports show recently and was asked what he thought about in Japanese Street Fighter, M. Bison is actually who we in the States know as Balrog. They fixed it for obvious reasons. He had no idea and was genuinely excited, Can you think of any other celebrities who had a character resemble their likeness and they either had no idea or hadn't given permission?
GTA 5.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Miley? Was it Miley Cyrus or was it?
I think it was Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan tried to sue, and I mean, they were making fun of the type of celebrity she is, but I don't think it was that close.
I don't either, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. Metal Gear 1 and Escape from LA, was it?
Yeah.
Escape from New York?
Yeah, they even reference that, though, because he calls himself Pliskin in the second one. Like, right. Snake refers to himself as...
Yeah, in MGS2, it says Iroquois Pliskin. Yeah. Winemaker Joe says, Ellen Page, Last of Us? Yeah, that's a creepy one, because obviously she and Willem Dafoe and some other people signed up to be in that game, and she had a very explicit contract saying, like, my character can't appear nude, like, here's a bunch of stuff my character can't do. And
wait, no, that wasn't Last of Us, that was the...
Oh, that was
David Cage's stupid game.
Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah, yes. Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was shocking, but she does look an awful lot like Ellie in Last of Us as well.
I forgot about that, yeah. I don't like Last of Us, that's why I forgot about it.
You've got Leon, who does appear in the... Leon the Professional, can't remember his name.
Oh, Onimusha 3?
Yes. There you go. He actually appeared in that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, Marcus kind of looks like Bender, but that's just because it's the same voice actor.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of big examples with celebrities like that. There haven't been a ton. I mean, Death Stranding has, all the cast are really hyper-realistic looking scans of real people's faces.
Yeah. I love the Dead by Daylight thing where they take actual actresses and actors, put them in the game, but then switch them just enough to make it like an off-brand version of them so they don't have to pay likeness rights.
Ooh, oh god, what was that horror game that came out really early on the PS4 where you have to hold the controller steady sometimes?
You're talking about the one that's got the cheerleader from Heroes in it.
Yeah, and like
they're up very recently.
Mr. Robot, that actor is in there, and like you look at him and it's like, oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that lady. Hey, what's she doing in here?
What is that?
It has like the skull hourglass on the front cover. I don't remember. Yeah.
Oh, it's a Dawn something.
Until Dawn. There we go. Oof, we got it. All right.
And it's also mentioned the skull. I had no clue what you were talking about.
Yep. It's also got Peter Stormare in it. One of the best actors ever.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a big one we're missing, and I don't.
I'm trying to think of like knockoffs, but I really can't think of any true knockoffs.
And I'm trying to think of stuff that isn't like a movie game, where like obviously if a game is about a movie, then the movie actors are going to be in it, or at least lookalikes and sound-alikes.
Don't you dare insult any of the Transformers licensed games.
the storied history.
Yeah, but then they brought out Rise of Cybertron, which was one of the best games ever.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, technically Mario.
Yeah.
Wasn't he based off of a landlord or something like that who didn't really know until he came into the office and they told him about it?
Yep, he was based off of Nintendo of America.
That's true.
The guy who owned the factory, I believe, yeah.
We forgot Kevin Spacey in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, but that's still Kevin. I'm trying to think of like knockoffs, like ones that kind of look similar, but like just slightly off.
If you want to go that far, there was what was it, Matt Hazard or whatever, that was Bruce Willis on PS1?
No, that was Apocalypse.
Yeah, you're thinking of Apocalypse, which is...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Matt Hazard was knockoff Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Martin Sheen was in Mass Effect 2. Forgot about that.
Yeah, the Elusive Man.
Yeah. Still a cool character. I'm looking through a list here. Fred Durst was in a game called Fight Club. I don't remember
he was. He was not a game called Fight Club. It's a game based on the movie Fight Club, dude.
Interesting.
And it is a bad game.
Yeah. Yikes. I can't think of anyone else Biggs.
We're all forgetting about the best celebrity endorsement of a video game of all time, which was Django Fett in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I believe it was.
I thought you were going to say Sneak King.
No. No.
Yeah. T-Bomb Rocks also asked another question here in Discord. In my downtime at work, I've been studying for a huge certification test. I've been using this time to revisit classic video game soundtracks on YouTube. I came across the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles / Hero Turtles in the NES and instantly loved it, but didn't remember it being that great. Have you ever went back and listened to a video game soundtrack you enjoyed much more later in life?
I tend to not do this with video game soundtracks. I tend to do this more with movie soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like every now and again, it'll just occur to me that the Pacific Rim theme is a banger.
That whole soundtrack is good.
Then I just have to play it as loud as I can in my headphones right then. And then yesterday I was feeling pretty crappy and I wanted to watch a movie which was dumb and popcorn. So I watched Wanted: Weapons of Fate.
Of course. As one does.
Is a very good dumb movie.
Yeah.
With some great action scenes and a really amazing score, which I didn't realize until I was listening to it again. It's like, crap, this thing's got really good music in it.
Yeah. I feel like that happens with me a lot, like T-Bomb is saying here, with NES games. Well, like when we were playing stuff of NES, Genesis, I feel like once you get into the 16-bit, the soundtracks got a lot more impressive, sort of noticeably. But I feel like with Master System and NES, like there were some really good soundtracks on there that we may have been too young to notice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of the Final Fantasy music, I've got most of those on CDs.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It might be really bad of me to say this, but I prefer second revisions of music. And let me just explain that really quick.
Okay.
So when I say second revisions of music, I'm talking about like games where they were released years ago, like whatever, and then they get inserted into something else or re-released with something else, and all of a sudden it takes a great song and makes it incredible. And I've got two perfect examples.
Gotcha.
Of this.
Okay.
Example number one: Final Fantasy VII. One Winged Angel is pretty great piece of music.
Mm-hmm. But
then you put it in Kingdom Hearts, and it becomes one of my favorite pieces of music of all time.
Like they get a second shot at it, and there's like, hey, here's how I would fix it. Like here's a full orchestral version of it.
The Kingdom Hearts version of that / the same one from the Final Fantasy VII movie,
Advent Children.
Yeah, real
Those
good.
Two versions of that song are masterpieces. And then probably my favorite one is, because it was the first time it happened, was the Legend of Zelda levels in Smash Brothers. I think it was Brawl. Got the full orchestra treatment for the Ocarina of Ocarina of Time soundtrack. Like those versions of that song are mind blowing.
One Wing Angel is one of the few pieces that I've seen go across genres where you've got a full orchestral version and it sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the Black Mages doing a complete rock and roll version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic.
Those Black Mages CDs are really great, because if you want to hear a metal band play Final Fantasy songs, it's really good. And that's part of Moon. I think you raised a really great point. That's why I liked the Third Rhythm games that Square Enix put out, because they got to like rearrange all of these classic songs, and they don't always really modernize them. They might keep the spirit together, and even if they don't use a full orchestra, they might use modern electronic equipment to make some of these Final Fantasy I songs like have a brand new life. Go listen to dynamicsoundtrack.com, where I celebrate the best video game soundtracks.
It's like nostalgia for music is how that feels for me. Where it's like, I remember the Ocarina of Time soundtrack being amazing.
Yeah.
The one that I want to listen to is the Brawl version, because that's how I remember it sounding.
Yeah, exactly. It's the one you remember, not the one that existed.
It's the same thing with One Winged Angel from the game, because I have the original soundtrack for 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's... For the time, it was fine. It was great.
It was impressive because it was vocals.
That was not what was going through my head when Sephiroth summons Supernova.
Right.
It was the rock and roll version of that, where it's heavy guitars, heavy drums, and it was imminent death.
Yeah, Square puts out a ton of soundtracks every year, and they've been touring the world with Final Fantasy music for the last 5 or 6 years or something. And every year they'll come out with some live recording of one of these tours, and every year One Winged Angel will be on there, and every year it's a pretty good arrangement. I'm really sick of that song by this point, like to the point where I don't want to hear it ever again. But man, they come out with like a live orchestra and a live choir version, and it's sort of like, yeah, okay, that's still a cool song.
Well, even like simplistic versions of it, like I have for my PS4, I have had the Final Fantasy VII background that came with me buying Final Fantasy VII when they released it for the PS4.
Right.
And it plays Aerith's theme song, just piano. And that can still get to you just with one instrument.
Yeah, I have a version of One Winged Angel that's played on kazoos. It was an official Square Enix song. It's really good. It's one of those things where like, this is gonna be dumb, and like a minute later you're like, oh yeah, oh that's the good stuff.
Diamond Chat points out that Final Fantasy VIII's intro song is amazing.
I will always love it. I will hate the Final Fantasy VIII intro for spoiling the entire game in the first 5 minutes, but I love that song.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack is massively underrated still, just as much as the game is.
I was just going to say, do you see a correlation there between the soundtrack and the game?
Well, there's a Final Fantasy VI, a 7, a 9, and a 10. I guess they just skipped 8. But yeah, I think 8 is probably one of my favorite Final Fantasy soundtracks, just overall. It's really great. I think it's some of his best work.
Nimp mentioned One Winged Angel being great no matter what it's played on. Harkening back to something I keep banging on about all the time. Duel of the Fates. Go listen to some heavy metal versions of Duel of the Fates.
Oh, sure.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, let me ban some people here in chat, and then we will wrap up this show and also report some people. I'm just going to close chat. You guys can look at the star field back there. That's our episode this week. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are our numbers. We get all the cool behind-the-scenes stuff, early access to stuff like We Rogue Like It, and Old Dog New Flicks, and Dynamic Soundtrack. $5 a month. That's the best tier. Super cheap. As we talked about, Game Club is Orwell Keeping an Eye on You. That is free on Game Pass for PC. Game Pass Ultimate, I guess, technically. So go scoop that up. Don't forget, if you don't have Game Pass Ultimate, use the loop/workaround stuff to get like 15 years of Xbox Live and Game Pass for like $2.50. Because that is the great way. Props to Moonpeer for walking me through how to do that, because I still am not entirely sure how that works, but I have it until like 2025, so that's pretty great. Yeah, and I think that's it, so we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Dimebag, we did not ban you. Don't worry. It just mixing people.
It was my mixed screens getting all to my usual mixed screen business.
Yep. Banned and reported. Usually just banned. This one, can't call us that, guys. Not cool. All right. Titles. Let's start with you, Mr. Nip.
So I have The Thing. All roasted
chicken.
We know
you do. We see you every week. We know you got The Thing.
Tutorial Topia, Bloody Top and Bloody Pants, Unsportsmanlike Killer, I Was Player 2, My Summit is at 3 o'clock, Full of Snake Puns, Difficulty Spike, and I Did a Bad Thing.
All right, Moon, how about you?
Can I just say that bloody top sounds like an adult thing?
No. He's all vetoed.
Yes. Okay. Global warming be damned. Unsportsmanlike killer. Snake puns. Bob Ross hair in your mouth. Save the world with friendship. Can't have too many tanks. So dumb, so fun. Punching air. Probably a veto on this one, but big, thick fingers.
Probably.
Darker shade of grey. I volunteer as tribute. You had me at Picross. And miscreants.
I have There's an Order to Things. A monster truck with a drill. Saving the world with friendship. Dimebag in chat recommended Mr. Beers, which I thought was pretty great. What else do I have? Tutorialtopia, which I really like. Unsportsmanlike Killer, and So Dumb, So Fun. I like Tutorialtopia and Unsportsmanlike Killer a lot.
They're the two for me as well.
I'm a fan of Unsportsmanlike Killer.
Okay. I can go with that one. Nice and easy. It's very unsportsmanlike is a very chewy word.
Yeah. It's got a good mouthfeel.
Sure does.
You gotta do your exercises.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
All right.
No. It's la-le-loo-la-li-lo.
Right.
That's how we do it.
That's right. The Patriots? All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 613 for July 22nd, 2019. Unsportsmanlike Killer.
I was trying to do my job.
I had the knife. He was there. Come at me, bro.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us live. I think that's it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
And we can stop recording.